We don't need to spend a long time, but I think we'll just have a blast through, and then if people want to share their thoughts or questions as they go, then we're happy to have a Q&A, and it can be related to this or anything else that you know, anything else lovely that you want to say about it. We're always happy to receive positive commentary. Hi, Molly. Right, so today's agenda. So we're going to talk about the summit, which we're super excited about. And then Chris is going to talk us through Trading Your Training, which is a fantastic new initiative that we've just launched. And again, we're super excited about. So let's just get straight into it, I think, Chris.
Perfect. Well, yeah. I mean, if you've been on one of our webinars before, usually we're doing a feature release. Today, we just have two really high amplitude initiatives that we're kicking off, like Jamie mentioned, the summit and Trading Your Training. So let's get started with the summit. This is something that we're all extremely excited about here at NetApp. It's coming up next week. It's a free, fully virtual summit. I highly encourage anyone here in attendance of the webinar to get signed up. We're going to have someone go ahead and post a link in the chat that you can click to register for our online summit. And to tell us a little bit more about what's going on, we've brought in our head of marketing, Matt Seekins, and he's going to give us the lowdown via a soundbite, of course.
Yeah, the voice of Matt Seekins.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. He's a pretty big deal, so we only get the recordings of Matt Seekins these days, don't we? Yeah.
I know. He's based in Australia. Not that much of an I know.
So as Chris mentioned, and as hopefully you will have seen in the past, we're hosting a virtual summit. And that virtual summit is going to be a free virtual summit that's being broadcast around the globe on the 29th and 30th of April next week. So it's creeping up on us quickly. We announced the summit now a few weeks ago, and we're incredibly excited to talk about some of the speakers that we're going to be having hosting the summit, who will be our keynotes. So we've got some great sporting names here in Arsène Wenger and Magic Johnson. So they're going to tell some amazing, inspiring stories about how they overcame adversity through their careers and how they actually rewrote their playbook to create best-in-class outcomes for their teams through challenges. And we've also got Patty McCord. Now, Patty McCord was the Chief Talent Officer at Netflix, and she helped Netflix through some incredibly challenging circumstances when they went from a physical DVD business and actually went through to transition and become the streaming giant as we know them today. And the real purpose of the conference is to get training and L&D professionals in one place to hear these inspiring stories, to help them deal with what we now know as the new world of training and the new world of learning in the shadow of COVID-19. So Rewrite the Playbook is all about coming together, sharing amazing stories, coming up with new strategies to overcome this new world of learning. And we're really excited to share that with all of you. We've also got some incredible speakers that are going to be telling their industry stories from companies like Culture Amp, from Bayer, and from Pernod Ricard, as well as many more, who are going to be sharing some amazing case studies about the changes that they've made in the last 12 months to overcome the changes that have faced the industry. So what I can encourage everyone on the call to do right now is head over to edapp.live, and it'd be great if someone can drop the registration link here in the chat for all the attendees to visit. I
think we lost sound there, Chris.
Sorry, did we?
Yeah.
That's all right.
That's okay.
At the tail end of that, I think Matt was just mentioning, we'll be leaving the link to register for the summit in the chat. I've done that just now. So take a look, everyone, give it a click, and you can get registered to attend Rewrite the Training Playbook. Again, that'll be next week. Here is the link I've just dropped in the chat. If you're joining from EMEA, it's on the 29th at 4 p.m. Here in the Americas, it's starting at either 8 or 11, depending on how early it is that you'd like to rise. But we would love to see you all there. All right, moving forward. The next item of business today, Trading Your Training. This is something that I'm really, really excited about. Trading Your Training is really cool. So at its core, this Trading Your Training program is going to be a tool or a resource available to EdApp users, wherein they can take their old pieces of training content, right? Things like PowerPoints, worksheets, PDFs, spreadsheets, sometimes videos, whatever it might be, and submit them to EdApp, have our instructional design team pour over this material and come back to you with a fully built and ready to go piece of microlearning content. Typically, what we're recommending here is that it's the first touch point that you might have for any fledgling training program that you're trying to deploy, whether that's some form of onboarding course, some form of safety training that you need to cover off. It could be on really any topic. But at the end of the day, the effect is, let's take your old training, let's transform it into something that you could deploy today, that you can send invitations to, and it's ready to go. It's quick, it's easy. Yes, it's free. No, there's no catches. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys through the process. So how are we doing on questions there, Jamie?
I don't know, I'm just wondering how we're spending a webinar dedicated to giving things to people for free. This is tearing me up inside. We're definitely rewriting the playbook here. I'm not sure, but anyway, hopefully we're not going to turn completely into a charity. But yeah, I think so far so good. I think everyone's following you, so I'm hoping everyone's going to sign up to the summit, which is again free. And obviously keen to learn more about Trading Your Training and how people go about doing that, and I guess what the outcomes could be for them.
Perfect. Yeah, so like I was mentioning earlier, what we're looking for here is just old school death by PowerPoint slides that you may already have. And if you've got them, send them our way. We can turn them into micro lessons. We can do it really quickly. And the reason why we can do it really quickly is because if you're already familiar, you'll know we're working with EdApp's authoring tool to do this. It doesn't take a lot of time or resource or effort on our part. And our hope is that you could put 2 and 2 together and say, okay, well, if this piece of content was turned around in that short amount of time, and that's what it looks like, this is going to be an easily repeatable workflow for myself and my business to develop this training program in a fully fledged way without too much effort.
I guess just building on that as well, the neat thing about this is when you get the content created for you, it's in a sustainable package, right? So you can go back and edit, you can iterate later if you want to as things change, but equally, this is something you can duplicate and use again. So if you really like design, I'm sure you will, that our instructional designers have created for you, just duplicate, change, like that's the magic of EdApp, right? Change everything about it. But really no work required. So it can be the start or it can be a standalone program. But I think either way, it's going to have a real big impact if you want to sell the idea of micro learning within your organization. It's going to be a really great way of being able to do that with something tangible that you can measure impact against.
Yeah, that's really well said. Yeah, it's going to be iterative. It's something that you'll be able to edit and deploy, and all of the branding will be in place. It's a really easy process, right? So here's the way it works. Send in your old PowerPoint and PDF worksheets and documents. In a moment, I'm going to give you guys a link, or if Molly, if you wouldn't mind copy and pasting a link into the chat that you can use, a landing page, if you will, for uploading these documents. And then step 2 is invite your employees to your really new, highly polished training. No, there is no catches, and yes, it is free, even if you're using the free version of EdApp. I guess really the only stipulation I can think of is that we'll create up to 3 courses, and each course can have up to 5 lessons. So, and that's a lot of content. I would say that's at least a month's worth of content right there. So, really exciting program. We're excited to kickstart a number of training programs for our users. This is a really cool initiative. I'm not sure how we're able to do this, Jay.
Baffling. It's baffling. So while we just take a natural break there, we have had a question from Michael, who's asking how many courses can be converted for a single user. Michael, I'm going to take that as a kind of each organization or an account. then yeah, Chris, is there a limit on how many kind of courses or lessons we'll create for them if they give us those materials?
Yeah, up to 3 with 5 lessons in each course.
Okay, that's quite a lot, right?
It is. It is quite a lot. Yeah, that amounts to
Very generous.
yeah.
I'm not sure what's happening here, but yeah, it's okay. All right, so yeah, Michael, we're talking about 3 courses, kind of 5 lessons each. So you know, if you've got a kind of like maybe a half an hour equivalent of kind of e-learning, or maybe a couple of hours of presentation slides or something like that, is probably going to be about the measure of what you get there. Then Kevin is asking, do we need links to the documents, or are they embedded in the lesson? Where are they then sorted? So do we need links to the documents? So are we talking, you got that?
Yeah, I think so. Kevin, what we're doing with these documents is we're actually using them as reference material to build out these micro lessons. So once those documents are transformed, the copies that we have are actually really discarded. And what you're delivered is a piece of micro learning through edApp's platform.
So I think Molly would like to answer that question live. Molly, are you able to unmute yourself, or should we unmute you? Are you able to answer that question?
Thanks, Jamie. I
Oh,
was
she
just
might have
letting Chris answer it live.
Oh, okay. All right. Did he
She
get it
probably
right, Molly?
understands.
Do you agree with what he said?
Yeah, it sounded perfect, Chris. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Emily said, can we have some review? Can we review the lessons we've created to make them better? Yes, Emily. You know, whatever we create for you, like, we're going to give it our best crack at making it look incredible. But you know, if you want to, like we already said, if you want to iterate and build on it instantly, you can do. Or, you know, if you want to get the thing out and then take another look at it in 6 months' time and, you know, add some new updates in there, you can do it as well. It's completely sustainable and manageable.
Exactly right. And you can even edit this content after it's already been deployed. There's no reason why you can't. So a lot of flexibility there around deploying learning with edApp, because the authoring tool is built into the app if you're not already familiar. And those are the same tools that our instructional design team would be using to make these lessons in the first place.
Oh, so Kevin was referring, I think, to additional documents. So yeah, we have what we call the briefcase, Kevin, which is where you can put takeaway documents, supplementary materials relating to your training for people to take away, you know, and they can be unlocked at different parts of the learning experience also. Or yeah, you can have hyperlinks if you want to link to other reference materials, or we have a web frame as well, where if you want to link to somewhere else within the app, then you can do that as well.
So in summary, what we're really trying to do here is, if you have training at your company, whether or not you developed it or someone else did, and you think it's really not cutting it, it's not sufficient, you can sort of call out your company in a way by taking advantage of this free resource, submitting that training to us, coming up with a micro lesson, and sharing the results with your team and saying, hey, this is what we could be doing with a learning program like edApp. Take a look at the results. This didn't take, you know, you don't even have to tell them that you used trade in your training. You could say you did it yourself. There'd be no indication. So yeah, really exciting program that we've got here. I think the questions are just pouring in, Jamie.
There's loads. So Kevin was asking just about that 2 hours worth of materials. Is that for each of the 3 courses or in total? Like, I think if you think probably maybe, I don't know, if you've got 100 odd slides, that's probably about 3 courses, right? I think my kind of blanket position on this is share what you've got, or set up some time with any one of us to talk about what you've got, and then we will give you some feedback. If it feels too much, then we're going to tell you it's too much. If it feels good and we can tackle it, then we'll just get on with it. Kevin, we don't think you're being greedy. It's a great deal, so like, take advantage, right? Like, make hay. So no, that's great. Yeah, we've got lots of people. I think Zoe's excited as well about this initiative. Emily, I think, was asking whether we can review some of the content that she's created. Yeah, we're going to talk a bit. We're going to share the schedule for our drop-in authoring sessions, which would be perfect for that. But again, you know, if you're in contact with someone from edApp, like, just drop them a message, right? Or hit the live chat. You know, we're here to help you. Like, that's our modus operandi here. Even apparently, if we're doing it for free, we want to help, right? We want you to fall in love with EdApp, and we believe that helping you to create and deploy micro learning through our platform is the very best way of doing that. So yeah, Chris,
Exactly
maybe
right.
we'll move on. I'll keep on keeping on. Molly, thanks for keeping on top of these questions as well as we go.
Perfect. And we're going to have, Molly, if you don't mind dropping this link right in the chat. But here's a landing page that you can go to submit any training documents that you'd like us to take a look at and build a lesson out of. Of course, you can always just get in touch with us. If you have a relationship, if either one of us has sent you an email or 5 already, which we tend to do, then let us know. We can get in touch with you. I mean, Kevin, for example, in the chat, if you have a few questions about what kind of bandwidth we have for building out content, just let us know and we can work with you. To give you some background in how we're able to do this, we've actually doubled or tripled our internal instructional design workforce, and they're looking for work. So if you've got something, bring it our way, and we'll sort it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I came up with a new analogy today. I don't know if Jess is on the call, but I talked about us buying them dinner and then falling in love with us. And that's exactly what we're doing here, right? We're getting you to use the platform, and we know that you're going to love it and you're going to want to unlock features, and, you know, your customers are going to ask for more. So, you know, then we get into like the interesting discussions, Chris, myself, and Luke and the rest of the team as well.
Yeah, it's the Mad Men approach.
Exactly. So I think Molly's dropped that link into the chat as well. But yeah,
Right,
it's definitely a really exciting new initiative, and you know, we've got some really fantastic instructional designers. You know, Chris joked about them having time on their hands, but these guys are doing just like breathtaking work. It looks amazing, some of the content is great.
Oh, the content that they're making, you should notice a lot of it's been added to the content library. A lot of those free courses that you can access, that that are readily available, they were made by our instructional design team. And coming soon, when you're uploading PowerPoints to EdApp, at the moment, we currently have this really great tool to automatically convert PowerPoints into micro lessons. We're going to be integrating Trade in Your Training with our admin tools. So you'll have the ability to convert plus design now in the very near future using this program, basically.
Yeah, just a point of clarity there, just in case there was any confusion. Whatever we create as part of this initiative will go into your account exclusively for you and whoever you wish to have access to that. So
yeah,
this is not content going into our library, although Chris's point is it's the same team that have created that beautiful content that's recently been added to our library. Yeah,
it'll be of that caliber.
So Michael,
well said, Jamie.
Again, just had a question about what format the content would be created in. Do you want to take that one, Chris?
Sure thing. Yeah, the content will be transformed into an EdApp hosted micro lesson, which will be readily accessible for your learners via web.edapp.com or our mobile application on iOS or on Android as an engaging e-learning module. It'll also be accessible by you, Michael, via admin.edapp.com, where you can administer this program. You can edit the content, deploy it, send invitations, and track via analytics.
Yeah.
So sort of it'll be dropped into an EdApp account for you, basically.
But it's
really quite simple.
SCORM 1.2 compliant content that we're creating.
Exactly right. So the content still belongs to you, even though we built it for free. If you wanted to export it as SCORM and take it away from the platform, you actually could. Although I shouldn't say that out loud.
We'd hunt you down and knock on your door until you came out. But no, you can do that as well. Justin asked, can you convert Apple versions of PowerPoint Keynote also? Yeah, you can give us Keynote. That's absolutely fine. In fact,
you can give us.
It doesn't have to be in PowerPoint or Keynote. You know, yesterday we received a Word document, and again, that's fine. Like we can build around that. Just give us what you need.
Yeah, it needs to be a PowerPoint if you're going to be using the automated PowerPoint conversion tool, for example, that I have on the screen on the right-hand side, which is not currently selected. But if you've just got a handful of documents that make up your training program, whatever it might be, or even supporting documents, images, video clips that you wanted to add, this form and the link that we have in the chat will allow you to submit a number of files. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and move on then. Here's our thought process, and here's the reason really why we're doing this. Using a program or initiative, I should say, like Trading Your Training in conjunction with EdApp's 850 plus course strong content library and our really easy to use admin tools. What we're trying to do here is break down any existing barriers that could possibly, any existing barriers that would prevent you from rolling out a new training program on EdApp. With these 3 tools, there's really no reason why you couldn't have a fully fledged training program ready to go in as little as 24 hours, really no longer than a week. So yeah, I mean, the thought process here is step 1, submit what you currently have with Trading Your Training. Step 2, take a look at the content library. Find out if there's any pieces of training in there that you might need, like OSHA training, training on sales competency, training on important business topics like GDPR for our European attendees, and supplement your existing training with that. And you're ready to go. Send those invitations and let them fly. Even if you want to just do a test group of your learners, engage their feedback with some survey templates. It would not take you a lot of time or effort to do something like that with EdApp's admin tools. Any thoughts on this one, Jamie?
No. I completely agree. Like, I think we're just giving you a super duper shortcut. I think Kevin's mentioned it already, but like, what a great way for you to be able to get out of the blocks quickly with some custom content that speaks your language and supplementary materials from our library, which meet all of your brand guidelines, because that's really simple for them to meet your aesthetic requirements. And if you want to find the time, can also incorporate references to your organization or even nuanced details around how you like to operate, right? So immediate value. And yeah, we're confident if you take that step and test it, people are going to love it, right? So yeah, nothing else to add to that.
Perfect. Well, that brings us right around back towards the end of the webinar. Told you, short and sharp one today. Jamie, you mentioned this earlier. If you've already got content on EdApp and you're trying to refine it, or you already know how to build lessons and you just need a little bit of advice, we actually do have free twice weekly authoring work sessions, or workshops, I should say. And this is with that instructional design team that I've mentioned a few times. So if you want to drop in and turn your camera on, turn your mic on, and work directly with our instructional design team and take a look at your content and ask for feedback, ask for edits that should be made, or look for direction that you can take your content from a technical standpoint using our platform, then this is a really great way to do that. I highly recommend anyone go to edapp.com/webinars. Molly, 3rd time's a charm. Do you think you could drop another link in the chat for me? And drop into these sessions. They're open enrollment. You might even be working with other authors from our community, other users like yourself, which is always really exciting. It's like those Apple workshops you always walk by at the mall. Yeah, jump into these sessions if you have any questions and you're looking for that feedback.
Yeah.
And as for myself and Jamie and anyone who's been working with Luke, definitely reach out to us if you have any questions. Here are our emails on screen. We're not hard to get a hold of, and we would love to help, talk strategy when it comes to deploying EdApp and answer any questions that you might have when it comes to rolling out a program like this.
Yeah. Yeah.